501-472. To talk to Richard from east of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. From west of the Rockies, toll free, call 800-618-8255. This is Coast to Coast AM with your guest host, Richard Serrett.
Sitting in for George Norrie, Joe Cocker, and Night Calls. Title track from an album. Well, no surprise, this was produced by Jeff Lynne. You can hear Jeff Lynne's influence off of this album with the guitars, and the drums, everything, the background vocals. Climbing Mount Everest, the world's tallest mountain, is one of the greatest physical accomplishments humans can achieve. The bitter temperatures, unpredictable weather, icy terrain, and lack of oxygen make it so difficult, in fact, that many don't survive to tell the tale. And most of the climbers who didn't make it are still on the mountains. Everest's bodies and grim landmarks, the adventurers who follow in footsteps. The exact number of Everest bodies is unknown. A 2015 BBC article estimated that the bodies of more than 200 of the 300 plus people who have died in the mountains are still there. Many are in plain sight of climbers making their way to the summit. Tragic reminders of the dangers of their ascents. You can read more about Mount Everest, the world's highest graveyard, in the Ins the News section of coasttocoastam.com. And if you like what you hear from me tonight this morning, please visit my website, strangeplanet.ca, strangeplanet.ca. There you can stream and subscribe to my podcast, Richard Serrett's Strange Planet. New episodes drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And if you want to get deeper into Strange Planet, you might want to think about a premium subscription. There are 3 subscriber tiers to choose from. You can get access to commercial-free listening, bonus episodes, just for premium subscribers. And in fact, I'm offering my own podcast, The Rock and Roll Twilight Zone now. You get 2 per month in the top tier of the list of premium subscriber program. The old Rock and Roll Twilight Zone podcast is available again to premium subscribers. That's in the Star Chamber tier. If you're in the Truth Seeker tier, you get 1 bonus episode. And you also get a subscription to my monthly newsletter, Intersect. It's all at strangeplanet.ca. Strangeplanet.ca. All right, let's get back to your fabulous calls here on Open Lines when we come back on Coast to Coast AM.
Like many of us, you might think identity theft will never happen again. But consider this. There's a new identity theft victim every 3 seconds in the U.S. That's over 15 million people by the end of this year. Equal to the populations of New York, Los Angeles, and Chicago. Even worse, identity theft victims often don't even know they're victims. That's why LifeLock Identity Theft Protection alerts you to identity threats, even the ones that don't show up on a credit report, like data breaches, fraudulent bank transactions, loan and credit card applications, and crimes committed in your name. If your identity is stolen, your own dedicated LifeLock US-based restoration specialist will fix it. LifeLock protects you in ways that you simply can't on your own. Join now, save up to 25% off your first year at LifeLock.com with promo code George. That's promo code George to save up to 25% at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
There's so much happening around our country, from border issues to local crimes happening in your backyard. Byrna is a less lethal pistol that can protect you from potential threats surrounding you. That's BYRNA. The Byrna less lethal pistol fires powerful deterrents like tear gas and kinetic ammo. Byrna is a great alternative you can rely on if you are ever in a situation where you need protection but don't want to use deadly force. One bullet can ruin 2 lives. It's legal in all 50 states. No background checks are required, and it's shipped right to your door. Government agencies and police departments across the country rely on Byrna as their go-to less lethal option. It works for them and will work for you. Check out their 15,000 4.5-star reviews. Byrna is proudly American. Manufactured in Fort Wayne, Indiana, it's time to join the 500,000 others who have purchased a Byrna. Visit Byrna.com/radio10 for an exclusive 10% discount. That's BYRNA.com/radio10.
East of the Rockies, Bill in Florida. Good morning, Bill. Welcome to Coast.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, thank you. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for taking my call. Yeah, you were talking a lot tonight about Eisenhower. You had his great-granddaughter on.
Yes.
And the truth is that Eisenhower was one of the worst butchers in all history. During after the war, they had 1.6 million German prisoners of war. They gave 400,000 of them to their friends, and then another 1.2 million, they died behind barbed wire of starvation. Starvation, exposure to the elements. Now, there were some who survived in addition to the ones who died. I'm just talking about the number who actually died of starvation, exposure, typhus, lack of sanitation, no water, no food. And this was on the direct orders of Eisenhower.
You're saying it was intention that they were deliberately...
There's a book called Other Losses by James Poppy that tells all about it. And you could also get a video. It's called Eisenhower's Ryan Meadows Death Camp. They beat them behind barbed wire. And then they just crowded them in and let them starve to death. And let the rain fall on them with freezing temperatures and everything else.
Who's the author of the book, Bill? Other Losses?
Yeah, James Poppy, B-A-Q-U-E, Poppy. He wrote a book called Other Losses, but there's also a video you can play, and it's called Eisenhower's Ryan Meadows Death Camp.
Ryan Meadows Death Camp.
And after the war, the United States Congress sealed up the records for 100 years. And they had a stand called Other Losses.
Hello, this is 911. What emergency service do you
That would
require?
explain why they suddenly
Thank you.
had less prisoners
Police
than they
officers
had
are en route to your current location.
This was all through 1945 into 1946, and the few that were still left alive once the busted, they disposed of it to the ground with football. Now you bet, they just drove over with football, crushed them into the ground.
All right, I'm going to check it out. I have heard reports of this, and I didn't have anything more tangible than that, but now you've given me some help out here. Other Losses by James Back and Eisenhower, Ryan Meadows. Look into it. Thank you so much, Jack. Let's see how much to Clyde in New Mexico. Clyde, welcome, folks.
Yeah, hi. I've seen some pretty weird things over the years. Never saw a UFO or a ghost. But this is one of the weirdest encounters I've ever had. And back in the 1980s, one of my best friends was a Wiccan high priestess. And we had a number of rituals together, and we were really good friends. And there was this entity that was honoring her. I won't go into the details. It's going to take quite a bit of time. But at any rate, one morning, I was lying in bed, and I was in the hypnagogic state, looking up, and I saw this, apparently a person, looking down at me. And if you imagine
Time to get paid.
somebody is
Take the
looking
vehicle
at
to
a
terminal.
30-year
Everything is set up for it to be shipped over to Yusuf in Liberty City. I told him all about it, all the history behind it, and everything. He is so fucking pumped.
It was hexagonal. I could see the facets on the faces. And well, it noticed me and then went away because what was interesting was when it was dressed, it looked like a traditional stage magician. It was wearing a black red line cape, an old Victorian style men's suit, and a silk top hat, and its face was white, like it had white powder, and it had bright red lips. Anyway, for a while after that, it seemed to have gone away. My friend didn't have any more contact with it, and I thought, maybe it had lost interest. But then I got a call from her, and she said, "Why, we've got to have a ritual. We've got to have it now." And anyway, what she said was just saying her guide told her it was a soul eater, and that it was, and it had been in a larval state of development, and it had entered the pupal phase, and then if it emerged fully developed, it would be far more powerful. So we had the ritual. She blasted it into limbo, and she had written the spell on a piece of paper, and she burned the paper and buried the ashes in the yard. And above where the ashes were, nothing would grow. So that's one of my weird stories.
That is a weird one. A soul eater. It's funny you mentioned that, Clyde, because the Mighty Aphrodite and I are binge watching Sleepy Hollow, which was made back in the 2010s up until over 2012.
MMI, we expect the
They did 4 seasons. And it's, Ichabod Crane, the Headless Horseman, but it's taken into modern times. And they combine elements of the Ichabod Crane novel with the Book of Revelation, and it's kind of apocalyptic, and they're always battling different monsters. Ichabod Crane he travels through time. He goes into the modern times. Anyway, the other night we were watching. It was an episode of The Soul Eater, and it was this scariest creature I have seen in a very long time. Nothing looked like you described, looking like a magician, but I guess if there is such a thing, they can take on any form they want. And why do you suppose it appeared to you as a state?
Another week, another piece of good news from Jamal. Another excuse to pop open a magnum of champagne and raise a toast to the picture of you I keep above my hot tub. That is how close we are, my friend. It's so close. Did you know we came up together from the same streets? No diggity. Keep it real out there, baby.
And Caracas. And in one of its manifestations to my friend, it tried to convince her that it was a soulmate of hers, a previous incarnation, and that it was like this Conan the Barbarian type. So apparently, it was a master of illusion. It would present itself in any number of forms.
Well, it's a good thing that you woke up when you did. Otherwise, it may have taken your soul too, Clyde. Thank you for the call. Soul eaters. Let's see. Now, let's say hi to John in Alabama. John, what's the post?
Hey, Mr. Rich, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
All right.
The story's not easy to tell. I'm pretty sure it's a felony. You know, I was 15 at the time, and kids do stupid things. And I was a police chief's son, and my best friend was a preacher's son at the time. And there was a cemetery between our houses at the time, and we were always taking shortcuts through it. And, well, we should have known better, but we were playing with bottle rockets around June or before it was July. And there was not a cloud in the sky. There was not. And we were just shooting bottle rockets and around the neighborhood. And we decided to go to my friend's house and cut through the cemetery. And there was one grave above ground that had a big crack in it. And for some reason, I wasn't thinking. I put a bottle rocket in it and I shot it in there. Now, as soon as it shot, a black thundercloud, it thundered real loud right over it. And the cloud cast over it. I mean, it's dark over this cemetery. Like I said, there wasn't a cloud in the sky, and as soon as it got dark, and thunder. So, has anybody ever had or said they had proof of God and outside of near-death experiences?
Do you think that's for me? Do you think that was God giving you a message? Don't be doing that in a cemetery. Do you think?
Holy ground. And the other thing was special white boys in the county.
I'll bet you were. I'll bet you
I
were.
went back several times and apologized, but I don't know if I ever got cursed or not, but now I'm real spiritual and I don't go to church, but I help people with depression and talk them through it and everything. I talk people out of killing themselves and everything. But
You're doing the
I
Lord's
say
work.
holla, you
just
say
I
dollar. Holla!
Here, thank you. Thank you for
Okay,
sharing.
cool. Let's get these wheels shipped to Yusuf. Head to terminal and drop it off. I told him all about the story behind it and everything. He is psyched. For real, bro.
We're 15. You meant no harm. And what you gave us, now you're doing some tremendously valuable work. All it ends well. All right, Howard is in Vancouver. Howard, Vancouver, Washington. Howard, West Rockies. Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, you were asked for these training stories. I have yet another one for you.
All right.
This occurred back in early 1971. And at that time, I just got out of the Army. And I moved back in with my parents. I was in my house. Morning. I was just waking up probably about 7 o'clock in the morning. Daylight out. And I was just kind of luxuriating in the fact that I didn't have to get up. I could lay there and sleep as long as I wanted. It was kind of a luxury for me.
Yes.
And I heard this loud bang outside. It kind of looked like a gunshot. And I guess I set up, pulled the curtain back and looked out. And when I saw it up there, there was a speed that ran right below my window. And what I saw out there was so bizarre. It's in my memory to this day. I saw the figure of an old woman. She was dressed in a long, heavy gray overcoat and a brown scarf over her head. And heavy set, she was in the same position, she was hunched way over. That she was in this sitting position, and this shot by up the street, right up the middle of the street, and it looked like she was just gliding. It looked like her feet were about 2 inches off the pavement. That it was just the most bizarre sight. It just stuck in my mind, and I thought that I was hallucinating or I saw a ghost. I wasn't sure. I was leaning towards the ghost idea because she was dressed like somebody else and I came towards me.
And she was gliding up in the air down the street.
She was in the same position. And like I say, hunched way over and was just gliding right up the middle of the street. And I didn't tell anybody about it. I just thought, like I said, I thought I could either hallucinate, but I thought I saw a ghost. The people that didn't dress like that, in the 70s, it looked like something way back, 30s or 40s.
What was that bang sound word that you thought was a gunshot?
That I don't know. That was the first thing that brought my attention to the thing. But anyway, you'll have to help me out trying to figure out exactly what I was dealing with here. But years later, I kind of forgotten about that. 22 years later, I was living on the other end of town. I lived and had my own place, and I was going to work one morning, and it just so happened that the way I drove to work, I had to go right straight up that street. And of course, all the old houses were gone. They were apartments in there since that time. My parents were long gone. That whole neighborhood was gone. But in the early 90s, we had a whole influx of Russian immigrants. There were thugs that lived in there. They took over that whole neighborhood. And I was driving through there, and lo and behold, I saw an old woman wearing this gray overcoat with a brown scarf.
Long John here. Drop everything.
She's riding along the side of the road in an electric wheelchair. And I pulled my car. I instantly recognized that I pulled my car over in this watch. And she went up the sidewalk and turned between the buildings and disappeared. And at that point, I wondered if it was a ghost or if I had a time slip.
Right, exactly what I was thinking. That she had somehow, in 1971, glimpsed into the future, and the reason she was gliding was because she was in a wheelchair. Amazing story. Howard and Van Peter, thank you so much for that. Jim Croce, who wrote Stop My Home, taking a little break, just into the break. Maybe on political tape. It was spinning around me, and all my thoughts were clouded. I had to under down all the things that do me. In so many places, I've run so many races. Looking through the empty faces of the people of the night. Something is just not right, 'cause I know that I gotta get out of here.
Tell us what's happening in the news, traffic, or weather with Open Mic in the News 104.5 WOKBN. Sponsored by Madden Advisory Services, saluting all military and first responders. Jacksonville is cup noodles, no paper cup. Does not include taxes, fees, and equipment charges.
I sigh firmer whenever I want.
Most treat, cure, or prevent any disease paid for by nutrition.
You knock us down, and we come back stronger. Or at the same production capacity as before, at least. All right, these drops are only accessible by seaplane. Products loaded up and ready to go when you are.
To talk to Richard Serrett, call the wildcard line at 818-501-4109. The first-time caller line is 818-501-4721. To talk to Richard from east of the Rockies, call 800-825-5033. From west of the Rockies, toll free, call 800-618-8255. This is Coast to Coast AM with your guest host, Richard Serrett.
Sitting in for George Norrie. In a pioneering study published in the journal Nature, researchers from Princeton University reveal an entirely new mechanism for magnetism that arises from the quantum motion of atoms, a phenomenon they dubbed kinetic magnetism. Conventional magnets get their magnetic properties from the spin of electrons, but kinetic magnetism emerges from the collective quantum behavior of many interacting particles. Specifically, it comes from the coordinated drift of dopant atoms moving through a rigid lattice of other atoms. To study this bizarre form of magnetism at the most fundamental scales, the Princeton team used an advanced setup in their lab to create model quantum systems of ultra-cold lithium atoms trapped in a laser-generated crystals called optical lattices. I don't understand any of this, but I thought you needed to know nonetheless, and you can read more of it in the news section. For all you science-minded folks, you can learn about the bizarre new form of magnetism. It's in the news section at coasttocoastam.com, paranormaldate.com, the online site where genuine singles meet, form relationships, you with more. Mr. Tom. Hey, Tom.
Hey, now what would you do if you were on a date and the date just said what you said?
Check, please. Check, please.
Well, here's the thing, Richard. That's the big thing about it, because we're talking about paranormal dates. And with a paranormal date, you find people that relate to what you do. So if one person's saying it, the other person relates. So it's kind of a marriage. So that's pretty wonderful. For me, process. Not for you and I, you and I. No, but if you want to go to paranormaldate.com right now, you can look for someone maybe that, I don't know, fits your criteria, so we say, find a date, a friendship. And what's really cool, if you're looking for somebody a bit more mature, we've also got paranormaldate.com/seniors for folks that are seniors. So kind of got everybody covered. Check it out. It's Paranormal Date and paranormaldate.com/seniors. Richard.
All right. Thank you, Tom. Great work.
You too, sir.
All right. Back to more of your amazing calls. What a night. What a night of open lines. And more to come on the other side. Coast to Coast AM continues. Great after this.
In your savings, weather an economic storm, there are very few physical assets you can invest in that are proven to stand the test of time. Gold has withstood as a value form of money for millennia. Merge Gold lets you convert a retirement account into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. That doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. Text COAST to 989898 and claim your free info kit on gold. Text COAST to 989898 and secure your savings today.
Now is the perfect time to start on your next success. When you apply to University of Maryland Global Campus by May 31st, you'll pay no application fee. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid courses. Plus, you can earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's for prior learning and work experience, or transfer up to 12 credits toward a master's. Get your app waived through May 31st. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by STEM.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels have to be good. Skiing, color, every time. And for psychics, think California psychic. When you want the best, some places are better than others. That's why at CaliforniaPsychics.com, home of free spirits, big dreams, and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. In fact, 98% of the psychics who apply to work with us don't make the grade. We connect you with the very best, so we can guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Download the app or connect with us at CaliforniaPsychics.com. Right now, new customers receive 20 minutes for just $50. So whatever direction you want to take your life, you know where to start. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychic.
All right, let's go. Let's see. Please.
Scientific discovery. No, it's pointed out to us. People that doing the work, and it didn't really bother me too much. It just seemed unusual. I've been doing that kind of work most of my life, and it just kind of went on like that, and I got the work done. And as I lived there, I also did a little woodworking, and I had a wood shop downstairs, and I had this saw. It was
a table saw? Table saw?
Yeah, it wasn't a table saw, but it was, I don't know. It was like a table saw, but it was one that you push, I can't think of the name of it. But anyways, it was running intermittently. And I took it apart, and I looked at the switch, and, it was like, you push the button. It wasn't a hand saw, but it was, it's a saw that you push through the material instead of push through the saw.
Yeah.
But it wasn't
like a band saw?
No, not a band saw. I think of the name of it, but
that's okay. We get the idea.
Regardless, yeah. I took the switch apart. It was a real good, solid saw. The switch was really solid. Everything was solid, and it just, it would run intermittently. And so I was getting kind of frustrated, and I kept working on it for a little bit longer and kept doing that. And then what would happen was when you let the trigger go, it ran, and when you pulled the trigger, it would stop running. So it's exactly the opposite that it was supposed to run.
Sounds like the wires are crossed.
What's that?
Sounds like the wires are crossed.
Well, they weren't. That was a weird thing. I mean, I checked the switch out, and it was on, like, you couldn't get at the wires. The switch was, kind of like hollows, and, there's no way you can get off at the wires. That's why I took it apart in the first place. It basically started running exactly backwards. So that's why I stopped using the saw. And there were other things, too, like, there were different light switches upstairs where I lived in the apartment, and I would switch light switch on, and it would make the light go on. And then, a couple days later, something with the same light, the light bulb wouldn't work. So I changed the light bulb, and it still wouldn't work. And then, I'd go by another week, 2 weeks later, and I'd hit the switch, and the light bulb would go on. So there are just strange things like that. It wasn't just like a malevolent thing. It was just this weird kind of attitude. And I had some friends, I was telling my friends about it, and they had like this amateur paranormal investigation thing, and they were going to come over with their equipment. At first, they researched the building, and it turns out that this place was a casket making back.
There you go.
Right, in the late 1870s, and it wasn't a very big building, but I was wondering what this weird stuff was in the basement. Like, there's this one room where there's this pulley thing with chains, and this oblong-shaped door that was in the ceiling of this room that was kind of sealed off. And then there were these other things that were like pipettes that looked, quite old in the same room. And apparently these were one of the fluids came that they used to embalm the bodies and stuff.
Yes.
And, it was really a trip. But they had some EMP sensing stuff, I'm not sure what they call it, electromagnetic equipment. We sat there for a night, and of course, nothing showed up, but it was just an interesting experience. It was possible to go out there and see paranormal, but
yeah, and that's close enough. And that's close enough. Michael, thank you for sharing. Great story. Let's see. Harold is in Florida. East of the Rockies. Carol, welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Been without power here for almost 18 hours. Huge storm came through Tallahassee, North Georgia, tornadoes, all this stuff. So, yeah, entertaining myself with your show. Great job again, Richard. Thank you. I don't have any scary stories, just a couple of nice ones, because I'm alone here in the dark.
All right, well, let's keep you company in the dark, Carol. Okay, share some warm, smiley stories.
Yes. I had a dream a few months after my mother died, where I was in that twilight zone and, just about waking up, and I really believed it was her. At that time, she was a, staunch Catholic. I was not. And there was an image of a blue rosary on the pillow. She was still wanting me to return to the one true church. The other dream I had, another one of these twilight zone kind of things, was a close friend of mine who died. 3 weeks after he died, I had this vision of him coming through my home, dressed just like he would, jeans, no shirt, and in the dream I said, "Oh my gosh, are you real?" If I put my hand through your chest, would it puncture? Would it be real? I really believe that was him. And the other dream I had, which was related, was that dream that he was being helped by some people. He was reclining in a chair, and they were helping him. He was sort of asleep. And I really believe that was, real too. So those are my two stories.
Well, I think we are visited.
Yeah.
For sure. I have had so many dreams where I'm surrounded by relatives that have passed on, my mother, my father, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and it's just like they never left. It's like we're just having a regular kind of. I'm not asking them, "Are you here?" You're dead, but are you here? It's like they're just visiting, and it's very comforting.
Yeah, I really believe that they are around you if they want to be. And it's very real, but we just can't see them. They're invisible to us. I really believe that.
Well, it is comforting. So, Carol, how long have you been without power, did you say?
It'll be almost 18 hours. They are working on it. We have, in the Tallahassee, North Florida area, over 80,000 people reported, being without power. Of course, they've got crews that have come in, from other places like that usually happens, and they're working on it, so maybe tomorrow.
Well, don't open the fridge unless you absolutely have to.
No.
Just keep it closed. It should be good for 24 hours.
Yeah, I'm okay. So,
well, you've got the radio. Excellent.
Radio, yeah.
All right, Gerald. You be well. Thank you, and I'm sure the power will be restored soon. Thank you so much for calling in. Let's see. Doug is in Columbus, Ohio. Doug, welcome to the coast. Good morning.
Good morning, Richard. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing very well. My thing is, I was 400 down in Port Oaks, Kentucky, and ran into a Bigfoot track. Which we had phones back then that I could take pictures of it. But the one thing I still can't believe in Bigfoot is that you got a creature that's 8 foot tall, or 7 foot tall, and a normal person, 2,000 calories a day. What do you seem to be like behind the grocery store, robbing the dumpsters like a bear would?
I think I've actually recall hearing someone talk about a sighting of a Bigfoot in a dumpster. So you may be onto something. Who knows? I mean, I don't think they're just surviving on bears. That's for sure. They must be. I've heard stories of Sasquatch taking a wild hog. I've heard of them taking down deer, chickens. So I guess, whatever they can get their big hands on, they'll eat. But you're right. It would take a It's 7, 8 feet tall. What would a creature like that weigh? 6, 7, 800 pounds, maybe? Probably about 500 pounds.
It's just the times I've been hunting in the woods and all that, I've never seen any like carnage that they would make to grab a deer or anything like that.
Yeah, but oh, now I'm thinking. William, what's his last name? Oh dear, if he's listening, he's gonna kill me on Long Island. He's been on Coast with me. He's been on my podcast a few times. He's written a series of books called Bigfoot Terror in the Woods, and he had a report of a hunter going into the woods, and he believed that he had stumbled into a Bigfoot encampment of some sort, and there was a bone pile, deer, and just all sorts of critters you can imagine.
So like
let me see. I gotta get this right because Bill might be listening. Bigfoot. Where I am typing it on live. It's live radio, folks. Bigfoot Terror in the Woods.
So that'd be interesting because, like I said, you think you see more out there in the woods if that was.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, William Sheehan. Bigfoot Terror in the Woods. I don't know what volume it is. I think he's got about 10 volumes. I'm gonna get it back on the program.
Okay.
And we'll talk about that. There you go. The Bigfoot Terror in the Woods. He's got a podcast as well. All right. You're most welcome. You are most welcome. All right. We have time for one more. I think I can squeeze in. Let's say hi to Serge in Montreal. Get back. Serge. Hello. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Richard. I would like to tell you how I got to know the name Canada came because I seen a documentary about it. There were some French explorers that came in the 1700s or 1600s anyway. They came and there was a French trader who was friendly with natives, and so they came to go to a village, and so they were invited by the chief to the village. So the chief said, Canada on Thanksgiving or something like that, come to the village. But the captain, they said, I don't know what he's saying. Oh, but the priest, there was a priest, and he said, oh, I know what he's saying. He's saying that the name of his country is Canada. That's how he writes.
Right, I think that was Samuel de Champlain. That was the French explorer, and the native individual was referring to this collection of huts. I think that's what Canada actually means. It means a collection of huts. And yeah, he was referring to the local.
Yeah. The first trader said that you might have meant the village down there.
Right, the village, but not the whole country. That's right. So Canada really means village. Anyway, yeah, I still recall being told that story in school. It's a good one. So, lost in translation, as they say.
Well, I'm glad to have talked to you about it.
Thank you, Serge. Good to hear. I think it's now. Getting Columbus going to come back. Carlos in Florida, you're the last call. You've got about a minute. Be careful.
Hey, Joe, look at just a big leap. Did you work story? I looked up something pretty in a game for hospital. On IT or close range. And I sit over a book for use with my daughter. And then,
Carlos, I can barely hear you. It sounds like it's raining. It sounds like it's raining.
No, it's not raining. No, it's not raining. Something told me to die through my pillow. I had fingers stuck in my throat. I was choked. I had a Bible, and my arm was moved against my will. Moved against my will. All sorts of bad things happened. It mentioned that a Ouija board of the things that comes out, chance of anything happening, I spend the one. I have it very, very, very cheap. And
Well, you've got to be very careful when you're fooling around with Ouija boards. There's a whole procedure how to close the session properly, and if you don't, then you're inviting trouble, and maybe that's what happened. But Carlos, thank you for the call. Thank you all for us. Terrific calls. All right, for George North, George Knapp, Connie Willis, Lisa Gar, Lisa Lyons, Stephanie Smith, Tom Danheiser, Dan Galani, Chris Burrows, Jeremy Wellens, Tim Banal, my Richard Sarah. Thanks for your ears and your voices, your beautiful voices. Until tonight, so long for you.
Broadcasting the Town Law Management Studios, everywhere on TV Radio at 104.5 WOKB. And investigative journalism. A lot goes into taking care of your problem. Being a putting people in liability, personal, individual, like the Photo GX and LC's compact records, rated #1 durability and owner experience. C-Series motor, I deliver a quality cut and side-giving ability vehicles with durability and speed. Visit the local motor dealer for a demo today. Myler Brothers Smart Equipment, all the weddings, EFE.com. Hey Russell, are your bench? Oh, good. No, not in the bushes. Oh, it's here.
Oh, Skip is right. Spring is here, and so are freezing days. Do Literacy helps you stay ready with your equipment. Your communities best to grass and bushes, other pets, other daycare, moving. The Chewy Pharmacy can help keep your truck protected and keep you from worrying about those tick moments. Shop now at chewy.com/dayoftick.
Oh, when you partner with Wild Business, you'll experience the Wild Business.
Our dependable local people.
USA principal of the smell.
And friendly. Wild Business offers dependable products.
High-speed connectivity and honest price. No hidden needs for artists.
Providing a true partnership with our customers is what makes us good. I am.
I have a lot of
Visit wellbusiness.com today to partner with your Well Business team, offering affordable and reliable options to help improve your bottom line. Well Business is now offering their fastest speed at a new low price. Get 1 gig of business internet for just $94.99 a month. Backed by 60-day satisfaction guarantee, plus free install and free modem for 6 months. Visit wellbusiness.com today. That's WOWF.com.
Offering customers subject to pricing and taxes fees including purchase restrictions and wide. Discover the Wild Business and partner with us today.
Technology helps keep everyone comfortable with a smartphone is time.
Turn temperature down.
Temperature down. Turn temperature up. Temperature up. For to keep everyone achieving comfortably, you need local technology. You need CDW to custom configure Delphi Solutions devices. Adaptive AI-based software creates a personalized user experience and boosts collaboration so they can stay cool and collected. Temperature up. Outstanding. Delphi Solutions make adaptive performance possible. CDW makes it powerful. Learn more at cdw.com/Delphi.
To our family and friends, I'd like to propose a toast. Here's to family dinners, where you don't have to do the cooking or the dishes. Bring the whole buffet full of options for everyone. Enjoy family dinners with pizza ends with chicken parmesan pizza, hand-sliced breaded chicken, house-shredded mozzarella on top of the delicious savory marinara sauce drizzles. The family dinners! Pizza Inn, America's hometown pizza buffet. When parties at $5 mix and match breakfast, you get double the goodness for just $5. There's a famous Dave Express Colonial biscuit, sausage egg, country fried steak, and smothered in gravy. And choose another. Mix and match 2 made from scratch breakfast mixes, just $5. Parties, goodness, in the mix. Now enjoy breakfast takes home every day. Returns at something. Price of schedule. Breakfast will be carried by location.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for over 30,000 watering choices. And savings beyond low prices. Like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. And up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. More savings and more inspiring flavors make Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. New restrictions apply.
We've locked in low prices to help you save big store-wide. Use your locked in low prices tags and enjoy extra savings throughout the store. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You've got questions? Well, Wiley Auto Parts has answers. Need a pro you can trust? We got that too. No matter what you need, our professional parts people have the training and expertise to help you do things right. The Automotive Problem. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
Auto parts. Is your last chance to save on the perfect gift at Macy's Mother's Day sale. Use your coupon number 65 and save 25% off great gift ideas. Or shop specials, like 30 to 65% off fast shipping, and 30 to 40% off pajamas from Charter Clothing Bar. Plus on the beauty and printed soup sets from Lanvin, Coach, Fairly, and Aurora and more. Keep low today at Macy's Mother's Day sale. Savings on regular 730 prices excluding supply.
Broadacre Boys Ranch. But did you know that Broadacre Boys Ranch works twice as hard as taxpayer-funded programs because they rely on the generosity of people just like you. They provide quality, price-centered assistance to boys right in your area, and they need your help. They raise money by auctioning off donated cars, RVs, tractors, and other vehicles every month, and they accept planned giving and even cash donations. Just Google RDR.org to donate. It's better to support boys than to mend events.
Slow network is no networks of business. That's why more choose Comcast Business. And now, register some ultimate speed to business. Our fastest plan is yet. We're up to 12 times faster than Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. And existing customers, you can get up to triple the speeds at no additional cost. Also, the company with 99.9% network reliability and advanced cybersecurity. It's ultimate speed from Comcast Business. The power of possibility.
Is that our best speed was because they're an execute the $49 month, 12 month to 2-year contract with that government in Oakland. Plus, after we have the $800 3-week property, 1.8. But when I got your 501 6 Comcast visit that up, switch that. It's a 3-week water street spot. The government's own limited. It's an internet experience. Put on 35, 30% music. The best contact is 1.5 gigs for 75 internet. Rise AT&T if you want. $3 for 60% standard methods.
The plumbing experts at Fenwick Home Services are here to help when you've got leaky pipes, a clogged drain, or more you disaster. Fenwick has your back. And right out at $50 off any plumbing repair. Same-day service, expert technicians, and job done right the first time. Get a plumber today. Visit FenwickHomeServices.com, and Fenwick's help is on the way. Our nation's sea services protect our water bases, eliminate threats from the world, and safeguard Americans at sea. They've been a vital part of our nation's defense since 1775. Help keep our sea services strong. Support our Navy, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, and U.S. Flag Merchant Marine by enrolling as a member of the Navy League of the United States, the #1 advocate for our sea services. Learn more at Navy.org. The Navy League's a CS participant. First alert forecast. A scattered shower or thunderstorm will be possible overnight as temperatures round into the 60s to 5 for the WOKB weather meter. Mostly sunny and nice with Saturday low humidity at 2 highs in the low mid 80s. With your first alert forecast, I'm actually Jack's Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish for 104.5 WOKB. Stop. This is 104.5 WOKB. Jacksonville's news and on. The best of Sean Hannity is on now.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't know what the word is or appraisal is campaign, I am thinking about the public people making this weapons. Or the bits maybe audience lit up, it will be control. Anything control. Social security control. And God like it all, the democracy itself. Minus 181 days until America goes.
This is awkward. I'm looking at the cryptocurrency in my wallet, and I guess you didn't deliver all the stock. I'm transferring what's there and logging off. LJT out.
Legal justice under the law that we did through the recognized Department of Justice under Joe Biden and politicized Department of Justice under Joe Biden just continues. I mean, it's nothing but an outright circus in the court today with Stormy Daniels and her testimony. Anyway, Greg Garrett is with us, Fox News legal analyst, best-selling author. What do you think the odds are that the DA's office in New York City probably has a ton of NDA agreements that they've signed over the years?
I'm sure they have. But law firms, corporations, Congress have all put together an enormous fund of money to pay off people in exchange for non-disclosure agreements, and they get it for years and years. The indictment accuses Trump of falsifying business records for different economic home companies for legal payments in exchange for a legal document, non-disclosure agreement, negotiated by 2 lawyers, booked with legal expenses. Well, that's what they were. So the primary charges in the indictment are unprovable, I think. How does Stormy Daniels fit in? Well, she doesn't. She was never privy to the internal accounting of the payment she received for Michael Cohen. She had nothing to this case except the smear from with humiliating stories about her fleeting encounter with him, which, by the way, is questionable.
By the way, we have her on the record saying in 2006, 2008, she goes through all the years, 2012, 2016, and then in writing, January 2018, saying it never happened. I never received any hush money. The money that she got, she said, was not, quote, hush money, which, by the way, would not even be illegal if it was.
That's right. She, as you point out, in writing, in 2018, she reverses course and recants her repudiation that no affair ever happened. I'm sure that was brought up and explored on cross-examination. And, Daniels has multiple motives to lie, advancing her career, trying to justify the capture of it in what's very much like a blackmail scheme in which Trump is the victim. and she lost her quixotic defamation lawsuit against Trump, and the court ordered her to pay $600,000 to Trump in legal fees, a sum that she still refuses to pay. She tweeted at one point in time, "I will go to jail before I pay a penny." Well, in my judgment, that's a pretty good idea.
All right, so we have lots of basically unpacked here. You're an attorney, correct, Greg? You're a very good attorney. Can you please tell me what the second charge is against Donald Trump? Do you know what that is about? I know we have a bookkeeping error that would have been a misdemeanor whose statute of limitations have passed. What is he being charged with? Can you tell me?
Well, drawing from my favorite line in Shakespeare in Love, it's a mystery. Nobody really knows. Now, we heard during opening statements from the prosecution, fraud, conspiracy. Well, they look at the indictment. Fraud and conspiracy are nowhere in the indictment. They have alleged, indirectly, that he violated campaign finance laws. But wait a minute. The federal government has exclusive authority over campaign finance violations. The FEC handles it civil, the Department of Justice handles it criminally. And Bragg has, without authority, commandeered a federal law and or statute for which he has no jurisdiction. He with Juan Bergeron, who is allowed claims with irrelevant information, and it's prejudicial. We generally endorse support criminal procedure anywhere 4.06 including irrelevant evidence. It must be excluded if its probative value is outweighed by the danger that its admission would create undue prejudice to the defendant. What exactly was happening? So much of it, even Stormy Daniels' testimony, which is inadmissible because payments have already been introduced for witnesses, the act of Hollywood thing, all of that is highly prejudicial, and frankly, it is inadmissible here.
But most of the time, and so with the chart, they talk about conspiracy, again, things that have come up with we've been charged with. What we really learned is the allegation of that is about a bookkeeping error. Was this somehow an in-kind campaign donation, which would be a misdemeanor in New York State law, the statute of limitations of long since passed, and then they reached into the federal criminal code and pull out unconvoluted, unprecedented legal theory that had never been tried before. And then you got a former fundraiser, the third highest ranking official at the Justice Department, sent over leaving his prestigious position there to run the case for House Bragg, which I think in and of itself is prejudicial. And of course, then you have the issue of the judge that donated to Biden, the judge's family, according to reports, may have been financially from this case based on the work of the judge's daughter. Then we have the whole issue of the gag order, which doesn't exist, for example, for the prosecution's chief witness, Michael Cohen, who's giving commentary on the case, apparently on TikTok, and asking for quote gifts from viewers. Does that sound like a fair trial to you? Because it doesn't sound that fair to me.
Yeah, it's not a fair trial. The gag order is blatantly unconstitutional and prior restraint on free speech. It's okay for Michael Cohen to go on social media, make money, by the way, trashing Trump and give a commentary about the trial, condemning him as a criminal, but Trump is gagged from responding.
And the judge was very firm in saying that he's going to send him to jail if he violates the gag order again. And then we have people being questioned left and right. I saw the mayor of New York questioned today. Well, is Rikers Island prepared to take Donald Trump in as a prisoner? I guess that's one way Donald Trump won't have to sit in the courtroom. But I can tell you story after story about violent criminals arrested in New York, and they're out on the streets in seconds in Alvin Bragg's New York City.
Yeah, well, look, Alvin Bragg campaigned, as Letitia James did, on the promise to nail Trump. That's what he has done. He has distorted the law. He has mangled the facts. And he has brought an utterly meritless, almost laughable case to fulfill his promise to voters. You brought up the issue of whether this constitutes a campaign contribution and therefore a violation of the law. It does not. Hope Hicks, his former communications director, was on the witness stand, completely undermining the prosecution's theory. She told the jury that Trump's motive for dealing with Stormy Daniels, suppressing salacious story, was to protect his wife, not the campaign. That completely contradicts Bragg's central theory that Trump's intent was to help his election, and he therefore violated campaign laws. The feds, as I mentioned, have exclusive authority. They already investigated the payments of Stormy Daniels, and they concluded this does not constitute a campaign donation. No crime was committed. But Bragg decided that for political reasons, he didn't care whether it's legal or illegal. He was bound and determined to try to convict Trump to interfere in a presidential election to the benefit of Joe Biden.
All right, but if you're on the jury, if you're judging the jury and the judge is allowing all of this in, which I think, muddies the waters in so many different ways, and nobody's really explained what the charge is, how do you see this playing out? What would you recommend to Trump's attorneys in terms of how to approach this case as it relates to the law to get either a not guilty verdict or a hung jury?
They have to keep it very, very simple. Where is the crime? And actually, to some extent, they did that yesterday with the accountant on the witness stand who helped Cohen arrange the payments and reimbursements. And the very simple, direct question was, is Michael Cohen a lawyer? Answer, yes. So these payments would then be legal expenses, would they not? Yes, they would. Now, that completely blows a hole in all 34 charges of falsifying business records. Because, as I mentioned, how else are you going to call these things? Two lawyers negotiate.
But how does the jury put aside the salacious nature of the testimony, for example, of Stormy Daniels or David Pecker, and what the whole catch and kill operation is that most people probably have never heard of before?
This is an effort by